Okay, so I said I'd make a video. I've waited a couple days, but we're gonna talk about it. So the underlying video that I am responding to is where mom and dad were in mediation. Dad wanted certain things. Mom said yes to those things, but she wanted her to hyphenate her daughter's last name and include her last name. People had a lot of things to say about this, both on TikTok and on Facebook. Interestingly, people on TikTok mostly said that they thought that that was a reasonable request, and people on Facebook mostly thought mom was being sneaky by passing this in, and she shouldn't be asking to hyphenate the name. It should be separate, it shouldn't be discussed in mediation. My general thoughts are that I would love to see us evolve to a point where, generally speaking, children had the last names of both of their parents. I think hyphenating is perfectly reasonable. You don't have to write both names. You can go by either. In my personal experience, my ex-husband and I both hyphenated our names when we got married. So my last name, Tarasio, is I'm very connected to it. And I'm connected to it because my grandparents immigrated from Sicily. And my parents sent my brother and I to live in Sicily when we were children. And we would live with our extended family in this whole other world that's very, very different from the United States. And so many of our traditions come directly from being a Tarasio. And I never wanted to give that up, but I did hyphenate. And so did my ex-husband. Now, it was a big pain in the rear for him. He mostly went by his last name, and I really went by my last name. But it became a pain for him, and so he changed it at a certain point, and then I changed it and dropped his last name when we got divorced. We gave all of my children his last name, and I really wish that we had hyphenated it. And I didn't want to give them a big, long last name, but I wish that we had hyphenated it because my children also are connected to the Tarasio name and the Tarasio traditions. My grandparents are still alive, or at least my grandmother. My grandfather died recently, but my children know them and they're connected to that culture. And I think that they should have the choice to choose whatever they want to. And by hyphenating our children's names, we give them those choices. They may identify with one name or another, or they may think that their name sounds better with one name or another. And I think rather than allowing a tradition where women and children were owned as property of their husband, and that's why they lost their name, rather than letting that dictate our choices, I think we should be thinking about it in a different way. What name resonates? And how do we preserve our traditions and honor our heritage, both our mother's heritage and our father's heritage? That's my point.